time that the Sri Lanka allows the establishment of the first fleet of the Indian Ocean for the US Navy in Trincomalee. Earlier, the 7th Fleet of the Indian Ocean, the commanders, they have proposed to establish the first fleet of Indian Ocean for the US Navy in Singapore, but still it has not been carried out. So when we look at the number of accidents around the Sri Lanka's seas and oceans, starting from the east coast and then again in the southern coast, and then near the Colombo harbour. Now again a ship entering the Malacca Strait, leaving the Colombo port. So this type of number of accidents, engine troubles, oil spills, fires, etc., is an indication of the insecurity on the seas and the ocean, especially the Sri Lanka Navy. We have seen just before the UN resolution to establish a United Nations monitoring mission on Sri Lanka was passed this year. There was an incident where Sri Lanka Navy ship hit and damaged a trawler from Tamil Nadu, to which the Indian government protested. And subsequently, more recently, there was an incident in which some group of Sri Lankan fishermen from down south had been attacked on the Indian Ocean, which they have mentioned as Indian Navy officers. However, the Colombo Indian Embassy denied it, and according to the fishermen, their fishing equipment and gear had been damaged, and they had the Indian Navy of sailors on the sea have demanded drugs from them. So this incident and the number of incidents around the seas and the oceans of Sri Lanka, especially the west coast, the southern coast, southeastern coast, is an indication of because of the involvement of the Hambantota Port International Group under Chinese government. But until the United Nations monitoring mission started its operations, nothing really happened to give an indication of any hostile activity of Sri Lanka's seas and oceans. But after the incident of Sri Lanka Navy damaging an Indian trawler, and to which the India's External Affairs Ministry protested, and also subsequently with the United Nations monitoring mission started its operations, a number of sea accidents, which may be accidents or which may be natural, which may be artificial accidents, occurred. And I think these incidents, especially the Colombo port, near the Colombo port, the fire, the US government offered help, the UK offered help, the Norwegian Coastal Administration offered help, but India's role was restricted to sending the Indian Coast Guards to extinguish the fire. But other than that, India did not offer any help to remove the pollutants from the beaches. Now this incident, and also the presence of Hambantota International Port Group before that for a long period, did not result in any such intrusions or any accidents. So it all started just about a few months back. So I think it's a clear indication some sort of organization outside India, Sri Lanka, near our country, is engaged in doing some activities to destabilize the seas and oceans around Sri Lanka. So, but we know traditionally India was doing this from Tamil Nadu from 1978 onward, when Sri Lanka's then President J.R. Jayawardene adopted a more American-friendly foreign relation. So the present president of Sri Lanka, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, being an American citizen, would give us some thought whether India is once again involved in destabilizing the ships on coast and the oceans around Sri Lanka. So in that case, I think the best option is to invite the U.S. Navy 7th Fleet to establish the first fleet of Indian Ocean in Sri Lanka at Trincomalee Harbour. So thereby establishing maritime security for Sri Lanka around the waters before the things go out of control, because similarly in 1978 the LTT and other terrorist groups trained in India gradually start moving to Sri Lanka through the fishing ship boats, but later it evolved into a huge sea tiger force, a naval terrorist force. So before those developments happen, I think the Sri Lankan government must come into agreement with the 7th Fleet commander through the Sri Lanka Navy to and invite them to establish the first fleet of the Indian Ocean of the US Navy at the Trincomalee Harbour. Because we have seen at the beginning of this year, despite the request of the Sri Lanka government, the Lanka Indian Oil Corporation did not oblige by handing over the Indian oil farm managed Second World War oil farm in Trincomalee Harbour to Sri Lanka. So this resulted in the country not having a fuel storage. Neither Lanka Indian Oil Corporation carried out its obligations to develop this oil farm in Trincomalee, but it's actually the oil farm tanks, few are used but others are being corroded. So this strategic asset now it's being under in Lanka Indian Oil Corporation, and I think the government of Sri Lanka must act quickly and invite the 7th Fleet commander to form the first fleet of the Indian Ocean at the Trincomalee Harbour. And I think this would ensure security for Sri Lanka's coastal seas and oceans from the West Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal and the Southern Indian Ocean, so that the maritime security can be ensured, and this is needed for economic growth and economic development, and Sri Lanka Navy lacks the blue ocean vessels to do this, and I think gradually with the first fleet of the US Navy being incorporated at the Trincomalee Harbour, gradually Sri Lanka Navy can become a India like a blue ocean navy.